Ladies and gentlemen, and what a great honor it is to be invited to open the proceedings of the 2014 NASO Summit. I'm very envious that you're holding it in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is, from memory, a chip shot away from Santa Fe, which I happen to think is one of the world's truly great spots. I don't use the term honor lightly because, believe me, it is an honor, because without your dedication, there would be no sports. And to want to become an official requires a type of calling and a set of very special characteristics. But before I go too far on that, I'd like to give a special shout out to Mike Pereira, who I believe has been able to explain the finer points of football's laws than anyone previously. And let me explain why I think that's vital. When I first started producing sports on television, a long time ago, I worked for a very experienced Australian executive and broadcaster called Ronald Patrick Casey. Now, Mr. Casey drilled into me that to be a successful sports broadcaster, you had to use every trick in the book to explain whatever sport you were producing. Now, his contention was that while most people thought they know a lot about a sport, in actual fact, they just know the broad brushstrokes. And to fully enjoy a sport, you had to know a lot, because enjoyment is all about anticipation. And unless the viewer knows what to look for, that anticipation is harder to come by. And at Fox Sports, what we've tried to do right from the get-go is to educate as well as inform and explain the action. Now, that's where the glowing puck in hockey came from, the yellow down marker in football, even that little box in the corner with the score and time, and especially the announcers. And that's where Mike fits in so perfectly. Mr. Pereira has always been able to explain complex issues in sparkling clarity, to do it succinctly, and may I say, at times with great wit. And I believe that every time that Mike comes on a Fox Sports broadcast to explain a situation, the fans at home either nod knowledgeably or go, aha, I get it now. It takes, as I said, it takes a special kind of dedication to have the desire to become an official, and an even greater kind of dedication to persevere through the various levels to achieve the very heights at the very top of your chosen sport. And what continually astounds me about you guys is the accuracy of the calls. As you know, we now have cameras which can shoot in many thousandths of a second. And time after time, the replay shows the official has been correct. Now, in that vein, my father, my dad, when he worked in a steel mill, was a semi-pro soccer player in Newcastle, Australia. And he made as much playing on a Saturday afternoon as he did working in the open hearth for a week. And he had a lifelong love affair with the game, so much so that in later life, he helped organize a youth soccer organization. And as it happened, didn't have enough officials. So guess what? I started refereeing. Started refereeing junior games when I was about 14 and continued reffing until I was in my early 20s. Now, I hate to bring my minute experience up in front of the seasoned NASO members, but it gave me great insight into your world. And the main thing was the two sides of the officials' world, the subjective decision and the objective decision. Now, the objective decision is relatively simple. Was the knee on the ground? Did the ball cross the line? Was it in or was it out? The subjective is obviously far more difficult. Was there malicious aforethought in the action? Was the handball deliberate or accidental? And in soccer, the application of the advantage rule, was it a dive or wasn't it? And it was those subjective decisions which kept coming back to me after the game. Had I made the correct call or not? And I can only imagine the heartache and distress getting an objective call wrong, which wrongly decides a World Series or a Super Bowl or an NBA championship the wrong way. So from my point of view, the more sports which embrace electronic enhancements to decide objective calls so there can be no mistakes about an objective call in any area, the better. And of course, it's going to take a long time, if ever, for the sophistication of electronic aids to filter down to the amateur levels. And it's here where the great officiators begin. And it's here where tomorrow's greats realize the game must be impartially officiated without fear or favor. You know, officials and television production crews are really similar. Think about it. We both have to make split-second decisions. Millions of people know if we get it right or wrong. And at our very, very best, we are totally transparent. The world, in an ideal situation, should never really be aware of what we do. The game should flow. The athlete should be allowed to draw their futures on the canvas of the game. One team should win. One team should lose. A career can be made a career can be broken, yet in an ideal world, no one should be aware of what we do. We, at our very best, are totally transparent. Now, I've been putting sports on television in various parts of the world for 40 years, and let me say with total sincerity that of all the people I've met and worked with, inevitably it's the officials who have made the greatest impression on me. Simply because, to me, officials are indicative of all that's good, great, and wonderful about sports. Dedication, devotion, and especially in your case, impartiality. An ability to lose self for the goodness and greatness of the game, and all the good that sports does for our society. There's an essence of spirituality about sports, giving of oneself to a greater cause, and you all embody that for me. So a heartfelt thank you from me on behalf of the world of sports television production. Enjoy this year's conference, which I believe is called A Whole New Ballgame, Safe, Secure, and By the Rules, with the watchwords, of course, of impartiality without fear or favor. Thank you, and have a productive conference.